Welcome to Inside Southeastern Football with Frank Scelfo, presented by LA's First Choice Auto Auction on the Southeastern Sports Radio Network. It's your chance to hear directly from the head of Lion football. Now, live from Topolok Catering in downtown Hammond, here's Alan Waddell.
Saturday night, our Lions headed west to Beaumont, Texas to take on the Lamar Cardinals and left with the first win of the season and the first win in the Frank Scelfo era here at Southeastern. This was certainly a strange game, and if I told you our Lions trailed at halftime, committed 5 turnovers in the game, and included a 1 defensive touchdown, you would have thought we came home with a loss. There was certainly a ton of adversity in this game, including a torrential downpour, but our Lions made enough plays to win in a hostile environment to set up a big game this weekend at home against Northwestern State. The Lions have owned this rivalry the last 6 matchups as the Lions have defeated the Demons, and they come in this weekend, though, undefeated in the Southland Conference, and there's a ton of storylines that makes this weekend's game against the Demons very interesting, and we'll cover them all here tonight. Good evening, Lion fans. I'm Alan Waddell, and I want to welcome you to Inside Southeastern Football with Frank Scelfo, presented by Louisiana First Choice Auto Auction, live from our home, Topolok, right here in Hammond. Thank you so much for joining us wherever you may be tonight, whether on the Lions Radio Network or watching live on Facebook or even watching the archive on YouTube. We'll be with you until 8 o'clock, and over the next hour, we'll get Coach Scelfo's thoughts on the game against Lamar and get a preview of this weekend's game against the Demons of Northwestern State. But first, let's take a break. When we come back, I'll be joined by the head football coach of your Southeastern Lions, Frank Scelfo. Inside Southeastern Football with Frank Scelfo is presented by Louisiana First Choice Auto Auction and Topolok on the Southeastern Sports Radio Network.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for providing the facilities to meet my health and nutritional needs in order for me to be the best student athlete I can be.
For making game day experiences go from ordinary to extraordinary.
For allowing me to meet new people and build lifelong friendships while competing at the school I love.
For giving me the resources to pursue my degree and the ability to excel in the classroom.
For helping me look my best as I compete and achieve my goals.
Thank you.
Summer, student-athlete leaders from the Southland Conference's 13 schools get together for a retreat. Before we start another season of competition, there's time to have some fun and bond. We also share experiences of serving our campuses and communities. Together, Southland student-athletes completed more than 30,000 community service hours over the past year. We pull for each other and push to make each other better. Just part of what makes us Southland strong.
All right, welcome back to Inside Southeastern Football with Frank Scelfo. I'm Alan Waddell. Thank you so much for joining us wherever you may be tonight. At this time, we're going to welcome to the show the head football coach of your Southeastern Lions, Coach Frank Scelfo. Coach, thanks for being here, and congratulations on your first win as Lion head coach.
Appreciate it, Alan. Thanks to everybody here. Yeah, it was exciting. It was good. Excited to get one.
Coach, it was a strange game, to say the least. I think if you look at this one with the weather, certainly we had to deal with some weather. We had to deal with some adversities. I know we turned the football over more than you want to, and it comes down literally to the last play of the game in this one. And you know, I know a lot of the games in this conference is how it's going to be. And you went on the road, but you were able to get one on the road and come out with a victory. Yeah, we can't lose sight of that fact that, when you get a win, it's important, man. You got to do it. Came down the last play of the game against Monroe, and we didn't get a win. Came down right down the last possession against Central Arkansas. We didn't get a win. This time it came down to the end, and we got a win. So, I know which way I feel better about. We still got some work to do. We still got progress to be made, and I think we got to make some changes, and things got to get done, and we got to do a better job preparing our guys and
working with them and doing all those things. But at the end of the day, you got to win, and we can't overlook that fact.
Certainly over this hour, we're going to point out the good things that happened in the Lamar game. We'll address some of the issues in the game as well. We're going to walk through it as Lions win this one against the Lamar Cardinals on the road in Beaumont, Texas. And Coach, like I mentioned at the top, is the weather. And for people that weren't there, after about the first 3 minutes of the game, that whole first quarter, it was a torrential downpour. It wasn't just raining; it was a monsoon out there. And I always feel like maybe that has something to do with holding on to the football later in the game. Your jerseys are wet, your socks are wet. You're just not quite as fresh as I guess you were before the game started. And then also trying to execute in the rain is tough as well.
Well, it did rain a bunch. Those were big drops out there, Alan. They really were. And then when it started puddling up on the field, there was that was kind of strange too. So there was a lot of rain in a short period of time. But we can't use that as an excuse as to why we didn't hold on to the football. We've got to take care of the football. They didn't fumble a bunch of times. We did. So we've got to do a better job of doing that. And they were playing on the same field in the same conditions that we were. The emphasis is being made. It's constantly being. We talk about it. We point it out. We feel like we're doing the things we need to do. We're going to change some things up again this week to go find that button to press to make sure they understand the importance of what's going on. But yeah, it was. That rain was when it came quickly and it stayed for just a few minutes. But boy, was it heavy.
It certainly was. Lions win this one against Lamar, move to 1-1 in conference play, and obviously every game's important. But if you're going to stay in this conference race, you couldn't afford to fall to 0-2. You had to find a way to figure out a win to win this game, even though you trailed at halftime. And I thought in the second half your team really dominated this football game.
I think they did a good job. The adjustments we made, that Greg and Louie made at halftime, paid off for us. Lamar mounted a good drive right at the end of the second quarter and got down and scored and went up by 7. So that was important for us to be able to go in at halftime, even as poorly as we played in the first half, down just one possession. And when we got in there, we addressed it with our players and said, look, here's the facts. We feel terrible right now. I know you do. I know fumbles. Those are terrible. Interception returns for touchdown. That's terrible. I know all that stuff, but that's behind us now. So we're one possession down. We get the ball to start the second half. Let's go down and score. That's what we're going to do. And then let's see who the toughest guy in this fight is. And our guys took it to heart. We did. We opened up the second half, had a great drive down the field, scored a touchdown, and then after that was a fist fight, and we came out on top.
Certainly did. Game came down to the final play, and maybe a little fortunate there at the end with that bounce on the squib kick, and we're going to get more into that later. But I know that's not how it was drawn up, but that's how it played out.
Not quite. It's kind of, I don't know, people out there play golf, but sometimes it reminds me of some of the shots I hit that it's a beautiful wide open fairway, and they've got one tree over to the right, and I just shanked it. It hit right in the middle of this little bitty tree when the greens. Yeah, so I think that's what John did there.
It certainly worked out, though, for the Lions as they win this game on the road, 30-24 against Lamar. Coach, you had a couple of players individually get recognized by the conference this week. When you win games, you get recognition by the conference. Tamarcus Russell was named Defensive Player of the Week. It was certainly nice to have him back after he was suspended for the second half of the UCA game. Defense just seems like it has a little something extra when he's out there. And, He had 10 tackles in the first half, was all over the place, and certainly he deserved that award this week.
Yeah, he's done a great job for us, Alan. Tamarcus was a guy, when we came through spring, he really struggled a lot. And not because of his effort, but because of him picking up the defense and understanding what his role was. And what he did was he spent a lot of time in the offseason during the summer in camp, and he said, I'm committed. Watch this. I'm going to take it to a new level. And that's what he's done. So he's a leader, and he plays with great effort, and he does those things. But what he's really done is learn what to do on the field and getting other guys lined up and making sure they're in the right spot. And that's been able to benefit us as a program, not just him as a player.
Juwan Petit-Frere was named Special Teams Player of the Week by the Southland Conference and also by the Louisiana Sports Writer Association. And anyone who was around this program a year ago knows that he has big-time return capability. He was a preseason first-time All-American in the FCS, and we really got our first. He's had some nice returns up to this point, but he got loose this week against Lamar.
He did. It made a nice cut. That one return, Isaac did a great job. Got two guys blocked. Niger did a good job holding on to their safety guy, blocking him. We had some other guys on there. But he made a good cut, broke a tackle, and then got in the open field. Finally got run down. But I think what you're seeing with him is his development as he's growing and starting to feel more and more comfortable with the football in his hands. And what I think is the hidden yardage with what he was able to do is that once that took place, the next 2 kickoffs, they kicked him out of bounds. And we got him at the 35-yard line. Well, that's hard to put a price on. When you're able to start your drives at the 35 instead of 20 or 25, that's a big difference in the game sometimes. And, just him being a weapon back there, the threat of kicking it to him, we got great field position twice.
Coach, let's talk about in this game your defense. I thought defensively they played really well. Maybe their best performance of the season. I know they've had some other games where they played well. Only gave up 18 points defensively. We gave them a defensive touchdown in this game. Really held them to 7 points in the second half, and that was on an explosive play. But really did a nice job in this one. Lamar came into this game leading the Southland Conference in rushing yardage, and we held them to well under their average.
Yeah, I think what's happened is Louis, the guys are starting to kind of figure out that we're doing a better job handling our gaps in the run game. Kyle Neville's being back and Tamarcus playing an entire game. Those are 2 big factors. Zeke Walker's fitting in as far as the secondary is concerned into the run support scheme. So we're starting to see guys fill their roles a little more capable, and they're doing a better job. But Louis has done a good job along with the rest of the defensive staff of getting those guys ready. And if you watch them, when the ball's snapped, I don't care where it goes, you got 11 guys chasing the football. That's a tribute to our kids. They're doing a great job from that.
Coach, we talked about it last week. Matt Wright he's out for the year, but you had some guys that needed to step up. I thought Trey Spann, his role was certainly was enlarged this week, and he came up with a big interception and played well back there.
Yeah, we did. Braylon went back there at the free safety spot and did a super job for us. And then, but Trey's role got expanded in a couple of the nickel and dime packages. So his role was expanded. He was able to go back there and do some other things. And like you said, got the big pick for us. That's another thing defensively. Getting 3 turnovers is huge. We gave it up 5 times, but they got 3 of them back, which gives us those other 3 at-bats and gives us another opportunity to score, which paid dividends for us at the end.
Coaches, I sound like a broken record. It seems like every week we're talking about Chasen Virgil, how well he has played, and I thought he played really well in this game, especially with some of the tough conditions early. 26 to 44, 279, a couple of touchdowns in this ball game. Really did a nice job. We were very efficient on third down, but I thought he played really well in this game. And he had to deal with – we've been pretty good at catching the football. We had some drops this week that we were able to overcome.
Yeah, and you got to remember, the inexperience that we have at the wide receiver position that we talked about even during camp. When you do something new and put them in a different environment, sometimes it impacts people who hadn't done it before, and that's where experience pays off. So us being on the road at Lamar in wet conditions or in the driving rain like it was in the first quarter, those impacted some of those guys. And sometimes when you drop a pass early, you might lose confidence and drop another one later on. So that happened to a couple of our guys, but we had some guys that did step up. I thought Nigeria did a good job. Juwan did a nice job catching the football, and then I thought Branson had a great game out there, tight end from a receiving standpoint. So Chasen's able to go to some guys who he's got a lot of confidence in. We do spread the ball around. We don't have one guy that we just go to all the time. We spread it around between our guys, and we expect them to make plays when they get an opportunity to do so.
Right now, Chasen is leading the conference in passing yardage at this point through 4 weeks. Let's go ahead and take a break. When we come back, we're going to have more right here on Inside Southeastern Football with Frank Scelfo, presented by Louisiana First Choice Auto Auction and Topla on the Southeastern Sports Radio Network.
Hey, Lion fans, I'm Frank Scelfo, the head football coach for your Southeastern Lions. It's important for us to excel on the field, but it's even more important for us to recognize our great community partners.
That's why we have this exciting new promotion here at Big Frog with Southeastern Athletics.
Come by our Big Frog location on Southwest Railroad Avenue for exclusive Frank Scelfo design shirt.
That's right. When you wear your exclusive shirt to any Lions football game at Strawberry Stadium, be sure to stop by the concession stand to claim your free order of nachos for being a proud supporter of Southeastern Athletics and Big Frog.
So hurry on down to Big Frog at our Hammond location and pick up your shirt today.
Lion up and frog on!
All right, welcome back here to Inside Southeastern Football with Frank Scelfo, presented by Louisiana First Choice Auto Auction and Topla on the Southeastern Sports Radio Network. And I mentioned we were going to break. Jason Virgil's going to give our fans an update. Jason Virgil, leading the Southland Conference in passing yardage through 4 games. He's also second in the country in passing yardage, so off to a great start throwing the football. Coach, let's dive more into this ball game against Lamar. We'll take a look at the first half in this game. And the game really started out nicely for your team. You get the football, you go right down the field and score. Back-to-back weeks we score on our opening possession, and we go right down the field running the football. I know that's one of the things that we've talked about the last couple of weeks. Got to run the football better. You did that on that open possession.
Yeah, I thought our offensive line did a good job, especially in that first drive. But we did a better job overall coming off the football and controlling the line of scrimmage, trying to play more physical. I think we've been a little lateral the first few weeks. We just need to be more physical and have a mindset that we're going to control the line of scrimmage or change it. You know, Alan, the good stat is that we've scored 3 of the 4 games this year in our opening possession. Yeah. So I don't want to jinx us or nothing like that. Just facts are facts. But I think Greg does a good job. We script plays and we get some situations handled for us at the beginning of a game. Make sure we take a look at formations, motion shifts, things like that to kind of get a feel for how the opponent's going to defend us.
Coach, that was one of the questions I wanted to ask you is we are on a script. I mean, that was one of the questions. So you just said that we're on a script. The rain came. Was there ever a thought to get off of the script? But it seemed like we threw the football even though it was pouring down raining.
Yeah, we kind of felt good about throwing it. After that first drive, they changed up a little bit defensively to kind of gear up and stop the run. So it opened up some things in the pass game. Unfortunate we didn't connect with Austin on the deep ball, but it was there. There was a couple other ones that we had an opportunity to, didn't get it done. But we kind of stayed where we were because we felt pretty comfortable what we were doing.
You talk about the shot to Austin Mitchell down the field. I know that's something you've done the last couple of weeks is take some shots down the field. And we talked about that a couple of weeks ago. And that game, I know there's always some coulda, shoulda, woulda, whatever. If we hit that play, the whole game's different because, they have to get out of what they do offensively. They're more of a run-first team. And the last couple of weeks, we've been able to jump up on top. And we've had a chance to separate, and we haven't done it. Is that something that you guys are talking about?
Yeah, and you can point to one thing, the turnovers. The turnovers have gotten us both times. So I think when you look at the turnovers, sometimes it just sucks the life right out of your team. And for 4 of them in the first half, and that's what's, I think when you look at our football team, overcoming 4 turnovers in the first half, being 1 possession down, going in at halftime, not a woe is me or defense pointing fingers, offense pointing. None of that's taking place. Our guys are resilient. They're ready to go. They didn't flinch. Went in the locker room. We regrouped, came back out in the second half and fought.
Certainly did, and had trailed in this first half, 17-10, going into the locker room. But you mentioned earlier in the show that they got points right before the half. They had a chance to go up by 2 possessions. I thought you did a really nice job of keeping that a 1-score game at that point.
Yeah, they did. That's important. Always keep it within. You can keep it within that 1 score, especially with us having the ball to start the second half. I thought that was critical. Louis and them did a good job of stopping and getting the ball back. And, and when you can do that, it's a little more hope for you guys when you go in there at halftime and you can tell them, we're getting the ball. Just hang on. We're fine. Let's just go down the field. Let's score and tie this thing up.
Coach, one of the, concerns for me, and I'm not a coach. I'm not a player, but I would think –
I'd sign you, Alan. I'd get you out.
No, you
there.
don't. No, you wouldn't.
Okay, well, never mind.
Okay.
Your dad said to take you. He said he'd sign you.
But, Coach, whenever you played a tough schedule at the beginning of the year, you've had some losses in there against some good teams, and now you go into the first half, you have a lot of adversity and you're trailing. Is there ever any panic in the locker room? How do you feel about that, about your group? I mean, again, I almost feel like there's some weight on your back that, hey, we got to try to get that first win of the season.
Yeah, no, you can't. I don't believe in thinking like that. I think you got to approach a season from the first play to the last, that each individual play is that, and clear your mind on what's happened in the past. Don't worry about the future. Play that play and do the best you can on that play. Then we'll move to the next play. And the same thing goes with that quarter and that half and that game. We're not celebrating the Lamar game today. That's not what we did. We moved on to Northwestern, and that's where we're at. Like I told you last week, got a 24-hour rule. So you got 24 hours of power to celebrate, whatever it is. But we're done, and then we're moving on to the next game. So with that mentality, there's not the mindset of we got to look at the scoreboard and we got to figure out a way to win. that's not going to get it. What's going to get it is that being resilient and say this next play we're going to really do a good job and move the football, execute the play, whether it be offense, defense, or special teams, and then go from there.
Lions trailed 17-10 against Lamar, as Coach said. Turned the football over 4 times, but still was in one possession. I thought your defense did a great job in some sudden change opportunities
Absolutely. Because it's hard now.
Yeah.
It's hard. Defensively, it's hard. Those guys get the momentum. They run on the field. They're excited. Everybody's jumping up and down. The crowd's into it. And our guys just held up. They did a good job, man.
Certainly did. Lion defense held it right there at 17-10, give us an opportunity in the second half. We'll go ahead and take a break. We come back, we're going to get to a very action-packed second half. A lot of stuff took place in that second half over there in Beaumont. Let's take a timeout right here on Inside Southeastern Football with Frank Scelfo, presented by Louisiana First Choice Auto Auction and Topla on the Southeastern Sports Radio Network.
Imagine life without football. No Friday night lights, no pep rallies, no band. All that time invested to teach young men and women commitment and team spirit, gone. Football, where young men and women compete to be the best, where bands, cheerleaders, and countless others take part in the team experience. Celebrate the passion that only happens every fall. Join the game.
Label me.
You know you want to.
Don't be shy.
You do it behind my back.
So say it to my face.
You don't know me.
You know what I am?
I'm a pitcher.
I'm a striker.
I'm a point guard.
I'm a linebacker.
I'm a setter. Shortstop. High jumper.
Wrestler.
Defender.
Goalie.
Student.
Student athletes.
That's who we are.
Across divisions, sports, championships, and schools for nearly 500,000 student athletes. College sports create lifelong opportunity, and that starts with education. We've raised the academic bar, so more are earning degrees, creating healthier campuses by working with the nation's brightest minds, and making sure more have the chance to succeed and are supported on their journey. But beyond the numbers, it's about opportunity, and we're working to provide it for every student athlete.
All right, welcome back to Inside Southeastern Football with Coach Frank Scelfo, presented by Louisiana First Choice Auto Auction and Topla, right here on the Southeastern Sports Radio Network. Thank you so much for joining us wherever you may be tonight. If you're watching on Facebook Live, we appreciate that as well. And you can send in questions for Coach Scelfo. We'll read those there at the end of our program, so you can send in questions right there on Facebook Live if you're watching. Lions win this game 30-24 against the Lamar Cardinals this past weekend, trailed 17-10 at halftime. And, Coach, you really went out there and dominated the second half. I know that was your message to your team. You outscored them 20-7 in the second half of this ball game. And you mentioned it. It all started with that first possession. You knew you were getting the ball first to start the second half, and took it right down the field and scored and tied this thing at 17.
Yeah, we had a couple of good plays in there that gave us a chance to get down there. But when we scored, you could feel us some confidence jump back into our guys. You know, there's like you said, it's always that age group. You never know how the momentum's going to swing at times, and we just felt a little juice jumping on our sidelines, and it felt good. You could feel it being the right thing.
A couple of big plays on that drive. First of all, the double pass. You hit Lorenzo, and then he throws it down the field to Schwabel. And to Lamar's credit, they had it covered. It was pretty well covered, and Branson went up and made a great catch for a big gain to really jumpstart that drive.
Yeah, he's like I said, he's a matchup physically issue with some people. So if you got a 5'10" guy covering him, he shouldn't be covering him because he's 6'4", and he's going to reach up in his arms and everything else. So very well thrown ball by Lorenzo, and for Branson to be able to go up and get that, it was good. But that was a huge play because, and I don't want to say trick plays because trick plays trick people. We're not tricking them. It was well schemed out. Greg and him had a good plan. It was protected, all that, but it was very well executed.
Coach, we didn't see Lorenzo a ton in the first half, but we saw him a lot in the second half. Was that by design? I know he was coming off of a little bit of an injury against UCA.
Yeah, he was bothered a little bit in pregame, and we went in at halftime and challenged him and said, what do you want to do? How you doing? And he said, well, really, he came to me. And he says, I'm ready to go. Put me in. And I said, I'm going to put you in. I want to. I've been trying to. What are you talking about? And he says, no, put me in. I'm ready to go. So I sat down with Greg, and I said, he's ready. Let's go get him. Let's get him the ball. Let's figure out a way to put it in his hands. Let's do some stuff with him. And I said, just let me know how you're feeling. Stay in touch. Let's constantly communicate. And, I think there was some hesitancy by him early that he overcame the injury, and he was ready to go, and he fought through it, and he really played well. I think provided a great spark for us in the second half.
I thought as well. It certainly gave you some other angles to run the football there in the second half. And the other play I wanted to talk about on that opening drive where you go down and make it 17-7 is on that possession, we throw a pass on second down to Austin Mitchell. He drops the football. You go back on third down. It was almost the same play. You go right back in that same area, and he makes the catch and goes into the end zone. Is that something you talked about? Hey, let's go right back to him. I mean, at that point, up until that point, Austin had a couple drops, and we haven't really seen him do that. I mean, he's had really good hands around here, and certainly made a big play. It was nice to see you go back to him and him make a play and reward.
Yeah, again, and I keep going back to the experience factor. Those guys just got experience, and sometimes experience is failure. It's not always success. You don't always have good things that take place. So you got to be able to learn from failure. And when he came over to the sidelines afterwards, he was excited. But the first thing he said was not that I was happy. I caught a touchdown pass. I'm jumping all over the place. We're tied up. He said, I'm going to catch him from now on. I won't drop anymore, I promise you. I said, don't say stuff like that. Just keep playing, man. Don't worry about it. And so when you hear that from your guys, you know that the message is getting out. Do the best you can, and we'll figure the rest out, but do the best you can, and we counting on you. We got faith in you. We believe in you. Just keep plugging away.
It's so funny when you watch those kids down there on the sideline. And
sometimes it's funny. Not all the time. Sometimes
it was funny for me.
Of course it's funny for you.
He kept taking the gloves off, and he'd put them back on, and he'd take them off, and he'd put them back on. But certainly had a big play on that, made it 17-7 at that point. Coach, you then get the football and score right at the beginning of the fourth quarter on an impressive drive. 17 plays, 90 yards. You kept the football for 6 minutes and 7 seconds. I know you would have liked to cap it off with a touchdown, but at that point you felt like you needed to get the lead.
Yeah, we did. I think what was good about that, we ran 49 plays defensively. Lamar ran 49 plays in the first half defensively. We turned it over 4 times, so they kept getting the ball back. Well, our guys were gassed a little bit defensively. For us to be able to do that and take all that time off the clock and keep our defense off the field was huge. And it gave us an opportunity defensively to turn right around and really change the momentum of the whole thing, because when offensively we can stay on the field like that, again, it lifts everybody up. Those are big plays that take place, and we got a turnover right after that.
Right after, I was just about to go to that. Trey Spank with the big interception.
Yeah, right after that. But you could feel the energy come back into our guys. I mean, just blowing it again. So they got confidence, and I want them to have confidence. I don't want them to have cockiness, but I want them to have confidence. I don't want the arrogance. I want confidence that they got to believe in themselves and each other that these things are going to get done. And when they do, don't be surprised by it. Sometimes people are just really surprised by success. We don't have to be surprised by it. We've been preparing for it.
Coach, on that possession, you're up 20-17. You get the football deep in their territory, and we talked about it, the ability to get up by 2 scores and make them kind of change what they wanted to do. And you get to a 3rd down and have a nice pass from Jason Virgil to Branson Schwabel. He goes up in the back of the end zone, shields off the defender, and makes a catch. And he was well covered on that one as well. And we've talked about it. He's a matchup problem down there, and it was big to go up by 2 scores at that point.
Yeah, it was a seam route that the backer took him. The safety went outside. And Jason made a great read on that, caught him going inside on top of the linebacker. The linebacker tried to carry him, but again, he's you got a 5'11" guy on a 6'4" guy. It just doesn't work out too well sometimes. And Jason really threw a good ball up high and over the top, and Branson went up and got it. So it was pretty cool for him to go get it.
Certainly was. Lions led at that point 27-17. Lamar wouldn't go away, though. They put together a nice drive, 12 plays, 80 yards. It took 5 minutes. They tightened it right back up at 27-24. The last couple of weeks, we've got the ball thrown over our head a little bit. They've hit a little go route on a 3rd down. I think for me, I said, hey, they're going to probably go for 7 or 8 yards here and keep the drive alive and try to get a 1st down. And they ended up taking a shot in the end zone.
Yeah, they hadn't taken many shots during the course of the game. They took one there and got beat on an inside fade route. It was Xavier. Xavier really played a good game on those guys. He was one of our better defense players, but on that play kind of he was guessing a little bit on the route, and the guy got past him to the outside and beat him over the top. Well thrown ball, executed from their standpoint. But, again, our guys didn't blink on the sideline. We didn't flinch or anything else. We said, let's go back down there. Let's see what we can do.
Well, Coach, you get the football back. You're leading by 1 possession, 27-24. And this is, you always hear people talk about 4-minute offense or whatever, try to run the clock out. And you really had an opportunity to do that. You kept the football for 5 minutes and 9 seconds, 10 plays on that final drive. And I believe it was all running the football, maybe 1 pass.
We had 1 pass. We completed 1 to Branson on a 3rd and 1 out in the flat route. And he turned it up and had a big gain out of it. But that was the only pass on the whole drive. That's a beautiful thing. When you can run the football, when the other team knows you're running the football, and it don't matter. It takes the life out of those guys, man. So for us to be able to do that really felt good.
Coach, let's talk about that final minute and a half.
Oh, that's awesome. I figured you would.
First of all, I want to point out, I'm not going to have you point out, I'm going to point out, that we lost a down in there. For anybody that was watching the game, we ran the ball on 1st down. There was about 1:25. They ran the football, and Lorenzo reached the ball towards the goal line, and they fumbled it, and they jumped on it, and then they ended up reviewing it and turning it over. When we came back out, it was 3rd down. So we lost 2nd down in there because I'm saying on the radio we have an opportunity to kneel it out, and couldn't do it because we ran out of downs. And I know that's something that you had the conversation because I remember I saw the replay, and you're on television saying it's 2nd down. Can you tell us what that conversation was about?
No, probably not over the radio, I don't think. I think the officials do. Look, guys, they do the best job they can, man. It's a tough job that they got. I wouldn't do their job. That's hard. Mistakes are made.
Yeah,
those are made, and that's one that I think is a correctable mistake. They made the mistake. They admitted they made it after the game. I know that's not. That could have really hurt us. It could have. It didn't. It could have. Those things just happen. I mean, they happen. They don't happen too often. And it just so happened it happened to us. But, our resiliency, we got it. We did what we needed to do. We won the game. We moved forward. Talked to the head of the officials, Byron Boss. He does a great job with those guys. It's, it is what it is. And, we just got to move forward. It's part of the game. No matter what sport you're in, it's part of the game. And sometimes, look, we fumbled 4 times and threw a pick 6. We made 5 mistakes, that's for sure. They might have made 1. Maybe they made another one. I don't know, but they made 1. So that's how it goes, Alan. I mean, that's just a tough situation. No, should it happen? No, it shouldn't happen. And they're the first ones to say that, but it did.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to get you to throw anybody under the bus or anything like that.
No. The bus is rolling, man. You don't have to worry about that part.
I just wanted to point out that we did lose a down. I mean, we went from 1st to 3rd down in a situation where we could have ran the clock out. Now, to the decision, you're 4th and 1 at the 1.
Yeah.
You decide to kick the field goal. Take us through that decision there. Maybe instead of going for it or whatever, but you would take that decision.
Yeah, so we fumbled 7 times in the game. So that was a big thing for us. From that standpoint, that was one thing. Another thing last year, experience goes a long way in the decision making. And last year, we in a game that I was a part of, the other team had to go 97 yards with a minute left and no timeouts and score a touchdown to beat us. And they did it, and they scored. And I said, you know what, let's force those guys. And we were talking about it because they had a replay right before that when all the confusion took place. So we were discussing it. If we don't get in here, what do we want to do? And we discussed it. You know, these decisions aren't made just spur of the moment. You got time to talk about them. And we discussed it and said, let's do this. We'll take the delay of game because the angle for the field goal is not going to be good. So we backed it up 5 yards, gave Jonathan a good angle right through the uprights. Take the delay of game, kick the field goal, and then kick off. And squib it down there, let them field it or whatever. They're going to have about 28 seconds left is about what we figured, 30 to 28. And then no timeouts. Let's see if they can go down and score a touchdown instead of getting a field goal. So now we don't make it. They go 99. Well, they don't have to go 99. Probably got to go about 70, I guess 65, and kick a field goal. And we opted to do that and forced them to make score a touchdown to win the game. So, if it doesn't work, you go, God, that was stupid. Yep. And if it does work, you go, well, that was pretty smart. I can say you're stupid for suggesting the other. So I think it's just, what's based on experience and what you've done and how you've done it and what you've seen over the years. And, as a coaching staff, we're all together on that one. It was good.
And then we talked about it earlier, and then we squib kick it, it hits the up man.
Yeah,
we don't have to worry about any of that. We jump on and the game's over.
Yeah, that wasn't the plan. That's not what we talked about. It's easy to say, but that was not the plan. John just missed it a little bit and hit the guy, and everybody was all excited jumping over there, and he ran to me, and I guess I had a different look on my face. Wasn't one of much excitement for him, but he said, I didn't plan that, and I said, I hope. You better hope I know you didn't plan that. And he's an awesome kid. He's a great kid.
Well, the Lions win 30-24 and move to 1-1 in the Southland Conference. And just for everyone who's asked, because apparently on the television broadcasters that were watching at home, they said that we onside kicked. It was not an onside kick. It was a squib.
Yeah, you can't believe everything happens on TV, Alan. You just can't, man. Some stuff takes place. There's no way.
Lions win at 30-24. Let's go ahead and take a break. We come back. We're going to wrap this one up and talk more about. We'll get ready for Northwestern State this weekend right here on Inside Southeastern Football with Frank Scelfo, presented by Louisiana First Choice Auto Auction and Topla on the Southeastern Sports Radio Network.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for providing the facilities to meet my health and nutritional needs in order for me to be the best student athlete I can be.
For making game day experiences go from ordinary to extraordinary.
For allowing me to meet new people and build lifelong friendships while competing at the school I love.
For giving me the resources to pursue my degree and the ability to excel in the classroom.
For helping me look my best as I compete and achieve my goals.
Thank you.
Hey, Lion fans, I'm Frank Scelfo, the head football coach for your Southeastern Lions. It's important for us to excel on the field, but it's even more important for us to recognize our great community partners.
That's why we have this exciting new promotion here at Big Frog with Southeastern Athletics.
Come by our Big Frog location on Southwest Railroad Avenue for exclusive Frank Scelfo design shirt.
That's right. When you wear your exclusive shirt to any Lions football game at Strawberry Stadium, be sure to stop by the concession stand to claim your free order of nachos for being a proud supporter of Southeastern Athletics and Big Frog.
So hurry on down to Big Frog at our Hammond location and pick up your shirt today.
Lion up and frog on!
Each summer, student-athlete leaders from the Southland Conference's 13 schools get together for a retreat. Before we start another season of competition, there's time to have some fun and bond. We also share experiences of serving our campuses and communities. Together, Southland student-athletes completed more than 30,000 community service hours over the past year. We pull for each other and push to make each other better. Just part of what makes us Southland strong.
Thank you so much for joining us. This is Inside Southeastern Football with Frank Scelfo, presented by Louisiana First Choice Auto Auction. We're going to be doing this each and every Monday night during the football season from 7 to 8 o'clock. We'll recap the previous game and then turn our attention towards the game that's coming up this weekend. As Coach, before we move on to Northwestern, certainly a big win on the road. Your first win of the season. You knock off Lamar 30-24. Anything jump out about the game we didn't cover over that last 40 minutes that you want to address? Maybe somebody that stood out when you went back and watched the game and broke it down that we didn't talk about?
Well, again, I'm going to go back to the offensive line. I thought Pat Allen played well at left tackle for us, and we spoke of Branson already. I think when you look at those two guys on either side on the edge of the line of scrimmage, they allowed us to get to the outside, to the perimeter on some of our runs, and they collapsed it down. So us playing more physical up front, it started with those two guys, and we're going to get the rest of them involved this week. But I think what was really good was Kyle Strickland was able to come back, play. He played almost 40 snaps, I think, the other night. And really played well. He played a good game coming off that injury, and then we were excited to see that take place. He felt good afterwards, too. Yeah.
Yeah, certainly was nice to see him back out
absolutely.
there on the offensive line as well. Coach, let's turn our attention to Northwestern State this weekend. Certainly always a big game when the Lions and the Demons get together. It's an in-state rivalry. I mentioned the Open. Lions have actually owned this rivalry the last few years, though. Won it 6 times in a row. But this is a good football team. It's a new head coach. They got new things going on up there. They come into the game 2-1. It's a 7 o'clock kickoff in Strawberry Stadium. Northwestern opened their season at Texas A&M. They dropped that football game, but then they've won their last 2. They beat Grambling at home 34-7, and then they beat Lamar the week before we played them 49-48, and certainly a shootout, and then they're coming off of a bye week. Talk about the Demons a little bit.
Yeah, so, they've Brad Laird's a new head coach up there. He's familiar with that program. His dad and I are really good friends. His dad's a former high school coach in Louisiana and also coached at Northwestern. He grew up under that tree. He's going to change the culture of what's going on up there, and I think he's a great hire for that place. He loves that program and loves what's going on. They beat a good Grambling team, Grambling's won 29 games in the last 2 years, and they beat Northwestern last year. And for them to turn around and beat them like they did this year is really impressive. When you look at the film, you saw that they dominated both sides of the line of scrimmage, which they did not do a year ago because we looked at their film from a year ago. And then against Lamar, I thought they did a great job offensively. They attacked the field. They really go down the field. They've got a great receiver in the Ferguson kid, and they've got another receiver in Quan, who's a transfer from Texas Tech. And third guy that they brought over junior college, offensive coordinator Brad Smiley, and I worked together 7 years at Tulane. And, so he's brought those guys with him. So they're explosive offensively. The quarterback's thrown 10 touchdowns this year, no interceptions. And he's thrown for a bunch of yardage, man. So he does a good job taking care of the football, doesn't make a lot of bad decisions. We're going to really have to do a great job covering those guys. It's going to be we got to get to him. We got to try to affect him. But then at the same time, we got to cover those guys because there's a few times he just takes a shot, throws it up, and the big guy goes and gets it.
Northwestern is leading the conference in passing offense per game at 354 yards. And, Coach, you mentioned your familiarity with some of the coaching staff. Anybody else on that staff you know?
Yeah, there might be one or two. Yeah, there's one. My son Anthony's on the staff. He's a quarterback coach. So, I pull for him every week but one.
Coach, defensively, former coach here, Mike Lucas, is their defensive coordinator. He came from UL Lafayette a year ago. Played well against Grambling on defense, but against Lamar, they gave up a lot of points. What did Lamar do to move the football on these guys?
Yeah, they were up 28-0 on Lamar. Yeah. And Lamar came running back and tied it at 28-all. And so basically what happened, Lamar hit a couple of big plays. They got, that momentum thing got going for Northwestern, and, they were just rolling offensively. Lamar hit a big play, got a turnover, hit another big play, stopped them on downs, came right back down again and scored. And next thing you know, Lamar's rolling. So they tied it up at 28-all. But I think what you're going to see out of Mike, you'll see a well-coached team. They'll be disciplined. They'll be in the right spot. They were like that in all of their games. Even A&M game, they were overmatched, physically, but they were in the right spot. They just weren't able to make the plays. Their front's active. Their linebackers probably the key to them, but their secondaries are the ones that end up filling in. You'll see safeties rolling down in the box to support the run. but also attacking the line of scrimmage. So, it's going to be interesting to see. I know he brings a lot of corner cats, which is the cornerback blitzing off the edge. He brought a bunch of those so far this year. That seems to be one of their top pressures. So we got to expect that. And, kind of what we saw against Lamar, they brought some pressure at times, and they got us a couple of times. I think Northwestern will do the same thing.
Coach, last year's game, we really got after the Demons up there in Natchitoches, but it's one of those that you can almost just take that tape and throw it away. Neither team is doing the same on offense or defense.
Yeah.
I mean, there's really nothing you can take.
Well, we took the UL game from Southeastern and UL last year, and just to see it, but we're so different offensively that schematically, you don't feel like he's going to do the same thing.
Lucas was at
right. He was the defense coordinator there last year. So by taking that and just trying to compare it and see if there's anything that we might be able to get from it. But, you don't feel like there's a lot of stuff on there that fits us, what we're doing offensively.
As a coaching staff, is it beneficial that their last game is against who you just played?
It does, but it's probably as much for me. Louis, the same thing. Louis and I were talking about it. When you don't know the conference, the personnel in the conference, and you hadn't played it and gone through it, now I can take Lamar and see how our guys played against Lamar and actually look at Northwestern and Lamar play and kind of get an idea personnel-wise what those guys like, whether it be the linemen up front on either side of the ball, matchups in the secondary, linebackers running. It's hard to look at Northwestern against Texas A&M and really get a fair evaluation of those guys. But I can look at them against Lamar because I know who Lamar is and what they're about, and having played them just 2 days ago, and look at those guys and say, now I got a better idea who Northwestern is physically.
Series history between the two programs. Southeastern leads the overall matchup 32-29. Lions have a 20-10 advantage in Hammond. In the last meeting, Southeastern knocked off Northwestern State 49-20 last year in Natchitoches. Again, it's a 7 o'clock kickoff. The game will be televised on Cox Sports Television and also ESPN3. But we need you in that number. Come out and let's create a good home field advantage like you mentioned, like we had against UCA, and have an opportunity to knock off the Demons, give them their first conference loss, and move to 2-1. Let's go ahead and take our final break. When we come back, I have some questions coming in for Coach Scelfo. We'll answer those questions. We will wrap up the show right here on Inside Southeastern Football with Coach Frank Scelfo, presented by Louisiana First Choice Auto Auction and Topla on the Southeastern Sports Radio Network.
Imagine life without football. No Friday night lights, no pep rallies, no band. All that time invested to teach young men and women commitment and team spirit, gone. Football, where young men and women compete to be the best, where bands, cheerleaders, and countless others take part in the team experience. Celebrate the passion that only happens every fall. Join the game.
Label me.
You know you want to.
Don't be shy.
You do it behind my back.
So say it to my face.
You don't know me.
You know what I am?
I'm a pitcher.
I'm a striker.
I'm a point guard.
I'm a linebacker.
I'm a setter.
Shortstop.
High jumper.
Wrestler.
Defender.
Goalie.
Student.
Student athletes.
That's who we are.
NCAA Division I FCS football is a game of perseverance, integrity, passion, character, and sportsmanship. As he works to honor the game, every FCS student-athlete grows in his responsibilities as a student and as a member of his campus and community. Dedicated to personal growth and success in the classroom, the NCAA Division I FCS, every down, every day.
got just a few minutes left to go here in our program on Inside Southeastern Football with Coach Frank Scelfo, presented by Louisiana First Choice Auto Auction and Topla on the Southeastern Sports Radio Network. We appreciate everyone who came out tonight and those that tuned in. We have about 10 minutes left. We'll get Coach's thoughts. Got a couple of questions coming in here for you, Coach, and we'll try to get to as many as we can. I actually have a bunch of them here tonight. This came on Facebook.
Well, let's get some good ones.
People are.
Hey, this Saturday's a whiteout game.
Yeah,
too.
Thank you. I meant to say that. Yeah, I was.
No, I didn't.
It's whiteout, so we're asking everyone to wear white, and you're going to wear all white.
We're going to wear all white. Yep, absolutely. It's a whiteout.
So it's a whiteout, and it's actually, I've been saying 7 o'clock because of television. It's a 7:07 kick.
Yeah, it's 7:07.
7:07
game.
kick.
So wear white.
So wear white out there this weekend.
You can wear white after Labor Day or something, Memorial Day. What
is that the rule?
Something like that. I don't know. I'll break those. I promise you that.
All right, let's get some questions real quick. We'll try to run through as many as we can. Coach Charlie from Lacombe says, Coach, congrats on the win. Can you talk about the Demon defense and how they attack the Lions?
Yeah, like I talked about a while ago, I think they're going to be they're a 4-down team. But there'll be multiple against us because of some of our formations, and I think the pressures will come from different areas. There'll be more. I'm looking at expecting more secondary pressures, corners, safeties, things like that. That seems to be their best players making the plays for them. That's who's made big plays for them so far this year. So, I kind of see that's where they're going to do. They do a good job against the run, plugging the holes. If you're going to beat them, you got to beat them on the perimeter. And but up inside, they're big. They've got some size inside. So, it'll be a challenge for offensive line. But we want to continue to play physical and take the line of scrimmage.
Coach Rumi the Lion from Hammond says, Coach, how are you handling the running back situation? Are you just going with the hot hand at this point?
Yeah, that's kind of it. Things are starting to settle in a little bit. Coop was banged up from the week before, but he did get some carries in this past week. Devontae's kind of been the horse for us so far. He's done a good job. Had a good game the other night. Got some. There was some tough physical yards in there, and he picked them up for us. So I was happy to see that. So there's we're starting to see guys when they do get hot, you keep them in there. But the hard thing is, a guy fumbles, don't put him back in the game, take him out. Well, we wouldn't have anybody to hand off to right now. We got to teach him to do a better job to hold on to the football, So that old punishment, if he fumbles again, we're never going to play him again. Well, we're out of players if we do that. So we got to just get those guys to believe that they can do what we need them to do and then continue to do it. So, yeah, hot hand, but sometimes, you want fresh legs in there too. Coach
Wade from Ponchatoula says, Coach Scelfo, with Branson's success, do you think that will create some double teams in the secondary that might get someone else open?
Absolutely. That's part of it. That's kind of what the read was the other night with on the touchdown that we talked about. The safety was the key for Chase, and the safety went outside to cover CJ on the fade route, and that opened up Branson inside one-on-one on the linebacker. If the safety had stayed in and they would have doubled Branson, we'd have gone to the outside to CJ on the fade route.
Coach Tommy from Hammond. Coach, I thought the O-line play was much improved this week. How do you assess their play?
Yeah, it was, and we talked about it. They were more physical at the line of scrimmage. We did a better job coming off the football and trying to change the line of scrimmage. I think we had been passive the last couple of weeks, and it didn't create any seams for our running backs, and that's been a problem for us. And I think that's had a lot to do with our lack of rushing production. But the other night coming off the football, and I also think another thing that helped us was Lorenzo going in there and being able to be a threat running the football, created some seams for us also.
Coach, a couple of people have asked here on the Facebook Live feed about a couple of our players that we haven't seen play a whole lot. Jocko Price and also Juice Marcelin. Can you give us an update on those two guys?
Yeah, Jocko's he's down in the rotation from a receiver standpoint, but he is playing on special teams. So you'll see him covering kicks and things like that, man. Hard-working guy. Had a good spring, had a good camp for us, and just hadn't cracked the receiver lineup yet, but he's contributing on special teams, which is so important for us. And then Juice we just got to get him loose, get him ready to go, got to get him healthy. We're hoping he has a good week of practice. Didn't really practice last week. That he can get a good week of practice in this week and be ready to go for this Saturday. But he'll be a game time decision. He didn't travel with us to Lamar this week because he wasn't going to play. But hopefully getting back in there and practicing this week, give him an opportunity on Saturday.
Coach, what are the plans for cutting down on turnovers?
Well, the emphasis. We emphasize it, and we're doing that. And we're going to institute some new drills, change the way. If you're teaching something and they're not getting it, Well, instead of just constantly doing the same thing over and over again, change what you're doing, because maybe the message isn't getting through to them. And it's not about punishment, because you can't punish somebody who feels really bad about what's taking place. They're already punishing themselves enough. Tell them that we're going to just change what we're doing a little bit, but we want you to continue to strive to be the best that you can be, and then we'll go at it from that direction. You can't, I'm going to run him, till he throws up or something. That's dumb. We're not doing that. But we teach him why it's important and what's important for what he's doing, and how everything rests in the balance of him being able to do his job. That's important, and they understand that. And I think more consciousness, more awareness of what we're trying to do, and we hope it helps.
Coach, Jerry says Northwestern State has a high-flying offense and leads the conference in the pass offense category. What do you think the Southeastern defense needs to do to contain this offense?
Yeah, we got to get after the quarterback. We got to change the quarterback. Got to get him off his spot. A lot of it's quick game. But they do take shots over the top, and we got to be able to get through, create some seams, and get some guys free. We hit the Lamar quarterback the other night a few times. On Trey's interception was a hit on the quarterback that caused the ball to kind of flutter. On Philando's interception, we put some pressure on him, which caused him to throw a bad ball. We got to go affect the quarterback, and if we can do that, we got a chance to slow them down. I think their receivers are too good to stop. They're going to get their catches. They're going to get their yardage. What we got to do is minimize the damage.
Coach, I see it seems like people are starting to double-team Isaac. He's been pretty hectic. Is that something that we're seeing?
We are. They're sliding the protection towards him a little bit, so they got the guard and the tackle over there working towards him. But when you do that, we got some other guys that are isolated. Josh Carty on that had a impressive rush. John Miller got up inside with a rush. Sean Clavel got a chance to hit the quarterback. Xavier Lewis came off the slot one time and hit the quarterback. So there's been some opportunities for us. We just got to be a step quicker and a step closer and try to affect that guy as much as we can. I thought we protected a lot better this week as well.
We did a nice job.
They got us on the one blitz. We gave up one sack. They got us on the blitz. Chasen should have checked the protection and thrown off another guy hot, and he missed it. But our offensive line, I thought, did a pretty good job for the most part.
I thought so as well. Coach, we have a couple of minutes left to go on our show. We want to thank everybody who sent in questions tonight and be a part of our program. We're going to do that every night, usually for about the last 10 minutes or so. So get your questions in. We'll get them to Coach Scelfo right here. But, Coach, you're coming off a victory, 30-24 over the Lamar Cardinals. You now turn the page to Northwestern State this weekend. 7:07 kickoff in Strawberry Stadium. It's a whiteout. The game will be televised on Cox Sports Television and also on ESPN3. But certainly it's going to be a great night. Come on out and support your Lions as another chance for a home game, second home game of the season.
Yeah, I'm glad to be back home again.
I'm sure.
Man. We want the student body there. They did a great job. The band, the student body, all those guys. Derek Hutton with our band does a super job with those kids in there. The noise helps create confusion for the opposition. The student body's there yelling and screaming. And then our fans, the home side last game was great. You come out of there and you look up and it's filled up. So the tailgating, the line walk's going to take place about 4:05. It was good to see so many people out there and having a good time. So we got a great atmosphere. Jay told me that. Andrew Bishak does a great job with that whole situation. Mary Hannah Prevost and her staff. But to be able to come through and experience it was pretty cool, and we're looking forward to it again, coming back home, getting that home field advantage.
Coach, I want to squeeze this one in. Richie Clark sent this one to me. I think it's a pretty good question. Coach, who's your wife going to pull for this week?
Well, I know she's living in Hammond, America. She's pulling for them Southeastern Lions. I can tell you that one. That's easy for me. I can answer that one easily.
All right, Coach, your final thoughts as we say goodbye tonight.
Well, it's just we appreciate all the support. I know our players do. And, the positive energy that comes from our fan base, our players feed off of it. Our staff feeds off of it. And it's important that we maintain that posture. You can always look at things, we were lucky to win the other night. We weren't lucky. We played our butts off and we won the game. That's what happened. So we had some turnovers, made some mistakes. We're going to work towards correcting them and move forward. But our guys work too hard. There's no luck involved in this game, Alan. It's the preparation and the hard work, all that stuff pays off. At the end, you get the check that you deserve, and we got to win. We worked hard enough to get it, and we got it. So I was excited about that, but I'm looking forward to coming home this Saturday. I can tell you that.
No doubt about it. We're completely out of time. We'll see you in Strawberry Stadium for a 7:07 kick against the Northwestern Demons this Saturday night. For Coach Frank Scelfo, I'm Alan Waddell. We'll see you next time on Inside Southeastern Football with Frank Scelfo, presented by Louisiana First Choice Auto Auction and Topla on the Southeastern Sports Radio Network. Line up, everybody.